Welcome back to Road Gang Radio. Join Jimmy Mack and Lindsay Lawler's Gang of the Airwaves by subscribing to Radio Nemo on YouTube.
We celebrate all kinds.
Make it official. After all, if you're listening, you're already in the gang. The Road Gang.
Hey, by the way, how do you get over Hump Day?
Ooh, tell me.
Well, you make your way over to NACFE.org and you make your way through the messy middle and you run on last, dude. You do all that kind of groovy stuff. We are absolutely thrilled to have the return of Mike Roeth. He's the executive director over at NACFE, and we're glad to have him back. Hey, man, how you doing? Where are you right now? Where are the adventures taking you?
What are you wearing?
Well, first of all, I love starting my day with somebody calling me groovy. How about that?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Because you are, man. Because you get.
I'm settled. Yeah, every week when we talk, I'm somewhere else. But the next 3 weeks, I'm settled into Gulf Shores, Alabama, and basically I'm sitting and doing meetings on the beach with my team and the industry and figuring out what we learned with the run and all that. But I'm kind of settled in, eating Gulf shrimp and grouper and relaxing a little, but keeping after it. So that's where I'm at for a while.
Well, and that's really kind of a great thing, too. It's a great reminder that when we go out on the road and kind of, and get a chance to kind of look close up and personal at what's going on with the different folks that we're kind of talking with and that you're kind of digging in with, is to take a moment, and a beach space seems like a great place to kind of reflect and kind of get your thoughts straight. As you get a little bit of time, and we're not going to call it R&R, we're going to call it work and relaxation, W&R, not rest and relaxation, because there's no rest for the wicked, especially when they're trying to figure out ways to better fuel the country's supply chain. But tell us a little bit about what you're seeing so far and where things look like they're headed based on the way this last round of runs went.
Right. So, we call it the messy middle, and, it is messy. And the good news is it's messy because a lot of these solutions are getting better and better. So we're seeing better availability of some of the fuels and the technologies to have diesel trucks operate more efficiently and maybe use renewable diesel or biodiesel and then natural gas. And then the battery trucks are doing better. So things are getting better, which means that, that they're more applicable to the, financial needs of trucking. So we're seeing some of these get closer to, being profitable to consider them. And that's where it's going to end up pulling these things through. But guys, today's a big day because we're releasing a very detailed data set of the 14 trucks from the run. So later today online will be a data set. Now, we guys, we have, this is of no use to us because if we opened that file, it would look like, gibberish. There's 2.1 million lines of data. We had 14 trucks in the run, 18 days, and we took measurements every 10 seconds. So that means that, there's fuel economy and truck speed and, weather information, all kinds of things from the truck that ends up being 2 million lines. Now, we don't have a lot of use for it, but there's a whole bunch of data scientists and data geeks out there that are chomping at the bit to grab this and then go, help the industry figure out what it all means to us. Exciting day for us.
It's a big day, by the way. And if you guys don't know, the North American Council for Freight Efficiency is a nonpartisan, agnostic nonprofit that basically helps the country figure out what is next in regards to what is going to fuel the supply chain, what is going to fuel how we receive our goods and services across the country. I wanted to ask you in a retrospective sort of way, having gone through your biannual run on less, going through that messy middle. I wanted to ask you, was there anything now that you've had time to reflect where you were really encouraged, where you felt, man, that was a leap forward, this was a big deal, this feels like it's headed in the right direction?
Yeah, I think it's that more of the market, more of the duty cycles, this is looking at Class 8 heavy-duty tractors and, medium and long distance. And so when you get down into the medium and long return to base, where a lot of trucks are in that space. Now we tend to jump to sleeper trucks and drivers at truck stops, and that's trucking. Well, there's a whole lot of trucking where it goes out in a day cab, comes back. It's just we don't see it quite as much. LTL, private carriers, and those sort of things. So the technologies are covered. I'd say two things: the technologies across the board are covering all of the duty cycles better. So natural gas trucks that can now haul, we had 3 natural gas trucks hauling double and triple trailers at 120,000 pounds. Natural gas truck was doing that work extremely well with the new 15-liter and so forth. But the other one that surprised me, and it probably shouldn't because we've done so much work on it, is the battery electric trucks. So these keep performing, whether they're from the new players that are designing specific battery electric trucks, Tesla and Windrose we had in the run. I mean, they did extremely well, nearly meeting diesel performance in a lot of the duty cycles. And, I see that as a good thing, guys, because we see so many benefits of the battery truck. No after treatment, much fewer moving parts. Drivers love them because of the regen braking, and it's basically, single pedal. Well, not only have we gotten rid of the clutch, but you kind of get rid of the brake with these trucks because you can use the foot off the accelerator to basically brake the truck. So, and they're just smooth operation, no gear shifts, that sort of thing. So we see a lot of benefits to the battery electric trucks. Just they've been too damned expensive and they haven't done the job. And now those seem to be mitigating. And they might be able to, well, we know they can do most of the jobs, but we still need to work on cost and weight, but it's not that far away. So those would be the 2 things, that all the technologies cover the industry better. And look out, world, battery electric trucks are coming whether you like it or not. And of course, we can start the discussion about where we're going to charge them and can the grid handle it. I get all that, and I get that. I even just threw that in before I took a breath because that's the next big challenge for them. But a lot of smart people are working on that, and a lot of money's coming in to do that. And we'll see how it transpires.
Well, it's, and you mentioned cost, weight, and recharge. That's the big 3. But we can have that conversation now. That's the really good news here. Of course, we talk about the idea: is it cost effective? How much, in fact, can it pull? How much does it weigh? And then, of course, how do we make sure that there's an infrastructure in place? But you can't even have that conversation until you know the stuff actually can do the job that diesel has been doing for well over a century. And this is a big breakthrough because it's always a matter. One of the things that you guys work incrementally, which is why you do these, why you'd have these events, it is to see the progress, to give people enough time to make that progress, but then see where they're at. Because there's a lot of people who came in regards to private equity and a lot of investment capital who wanted results, who were telling people a decade ago, you're all out of a job in 5 minutes. Well, the truth of the matter is that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, we're learning there might be more jobs wrapped up in all of this. But what you guys are kind of doing is now we're at the point where they finally understand when it comes to electric, they can make this work. That's the big thing. And now it's a matter, can we make it cost effective and can we find the charging stations, right?
That's right. And, I hear all the time that it takes 6 hours to charge an electric truck to get 120 or 150 miles of range on the Tesla Semi and the Windrose tractor. And I get it. They're not totally in production yet. Who knows if they're going to actually survive and make it. But we proved that for those trucks, you can get 400 miles of range in an hour and a half charging. And if you're in the middle of the battery, you can get 200 miles in like 45 minutes. So, let's say you've got a truck and a driver and they do 400 miles, but you still have 3 hours or 2 hours of service or hours of service left in the day. If you can find that charger in that right spot and get another 20, 30 minutes to charge, add 200 miles to the battery pack, get off the charger, it'd be like adding, 20 or 30 gallons of fuel to a 100-gallon tank. No one wants to do that because you can fuel it pretty quick and go ahead and get it up to full. But on a charger, it's different. So things like that are emerging is supports your point around now we have something that we can make work. Now it may have to make it work a little differently than we did diesel, and then it comes down to the availability of the chargers when we need them, where we need them, and the cost. That's exactly where we're at with battery electric heavy duty trucks. We're really not talking here about city trucks or local deliveries like we're seeing Amazon and the Rivians and so forth. Those are a different sort of situation and probably going to be electric quicker.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna make a leap real fast, because that often falls to the people who actually own the vans and own the trucks. They should be able to kind of build their own centers for recharge, and that's their specialty. All that local delivery, all that final mile stuff. I wanted to share with you, our good friend Marshall is on the chat right now, Mike, and he says, "Love hearing the traffic sounds in the background. I have my ideal time down to 4%, and my current miles per gallon is 9.4. Lifetime 200,000 miles is 8.9. He just wanted to share that info with you. I think that's really
That's great.
That's some cool stuff going on.
And you know what's great about that is that he knows those numbers right in his head right away, and you really need to measure to something to improve it. So absolutely, those are really good, strong numbers. Now the skeptics will say, okay, well, how much, are you heavy? Are you light? Are you this? You're that? But that's good work.
Yeah, and the other thing is too is like that kind of talks about what you guys do. I mean, we're not talking about dealing with commuters and four wheels either. You actually have to assemble data. You have to assemble data and information for people like Marshall, for people like Trucker Bosun, for Bruce Almighty, for a lot of these people who are chatting here who are literally experts on this stuff. That you are actually compiling data for many people who know their numbers reflexively, and if you spit those numbers at them, they can tell you exactly how the truck's being handled, if the driver's doing a good job, if they're actually looking out for it. So you are actually experts serving experts is a fair way of kind of summing up what NACFE actually does, right?
Well, thanks for the compliment. I mean, one of the people we interviewed this summer out with these trucks, he said, the industry's tired of what the paper says the truck will do or what the computer says the truck will do, and it's time to really see what it'll do with the data. And through, I guess, organizations like ours that, you can trust that we're not making stuff up. We're not, we're not testing for 10 days and then cherry picking the best performance and sharing only that one. We're pretty thorough in that work. So thanks for that.
Really quickly, and I'm going to give Mike the last word here before we end the segment. As you guys know, NACFE, the North American Council for Freight Efficiency, NACFE, is an unbiased and fuel-agnostic organization. They research the benefits and challenges of existing fuel efficiency technology and practices to help fleets and often owner-operators make informed decisions upon which options improve freight efficiency and are cost-effective. Mike, I want to give you the last word. And by the way, I appreciate you making time for us. I wanted to ask you one question before I give you the last word, which is, do you ever do any cold weather grilling or any grilling on the beach?
Yeah, so I set up the Blackstone last night. I mean, there'll be some, and you can along the whole coast here. I like the Florida, Alabama, Mississippi coast a lot. And you can find, fishermen who are been out. You can grab their catches at their either a tent or their business and take it home and cook it yourself. Or there's tons of restaurants. This time of year is good because you don't have the spring breakers and the huge audiences. So I take my own. I'll do my own cooking every once in a while.
So yeah, we had 48 degrees last night, Mike, and my dad said, "Get your butt out there and go make those marbled pork chops right now on that grill." I totally get it. I totally get it. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No. It's also the time of year for football, so I'm a Buckeye. If you guys don't know, so I'm kind of riding the college football season well. But no, I just like to close this by saying, it takes all of us to do this. So, when you were talking about our mission about helping fleets, very quickly we also include just anybody else. So we really, whether it's the suppliers, the truck builders, dealers, financing organizations, other NGOs like us, and we consider our audience really, really broad because so many people have to do something to oftentimes make these solutions work in the market. So thanks to everybody that pays attention to what we do. It's pretty simple. We do a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for, and that helps you get the latest and greatest from us and get informed on what we're doing. But thanks for having me this morning. I enjoyed this.
I did too, Mike. And really quickly to remind people, if you go to Spotify and type in Road Gang Radio or Nemo Nation and type in Mike Roeth, Roethe, type that in. And by the way, you will find every single guest episode and appearance he has ever made. Thank you so much. And it's on all the other platforms too. Thank you, Mike.